There is a game happening and the dog next door can't stop barking. There's wind making my doors bang. So I'm sorry, but this is going to be a noisy webisode. I'm going to talk about no makeup, especially for textured skin. If you have very smooth skin, and you see that on YouTube, you see a lot of people piling on a lot of makeup and looking absolutely flawless, and they even say, I'm not putting too much, and you say, what?
Yes, you are.
When you have textured skin, the more product you apply, the more it will enhance the texture, especially throughout the day. The thinnest the layers, the more careful the application, the better the look. And also letting your healthy skin show through is really important. Lisa Eldridge talks about that a lot better than I do. But keep that in mind. When you have textured skin, the temptation is to pile on a lot of concealer and thick foundation. Yes, you can use high coverage products, I have today, but you have to work it in a different way. The other thing is piling on a lot of powders, for instance, to mattify, to set, to make it last all day. It does not work on everyday life. It will just start to crackle up. There's a lot of things you want to go around, and it's a difficult thing for people with textured skin to make it look like they're wearing barely anything and still look really good. This technique is inspired by a couple of makeup artists I worked with in a movie we were shooting, and the director decided that most of the characters would not wear makeup, and we freaked out. But they told us, relax, we will take care of you. And his light is beautiful, but it's really sharp and edgy, and it makes everything pop out of your face, especially on a big screen. So we were quite worried, and they had barely anything when it comes to products. When you talk about movie makeup artists, you think of those huge tabletops filled with products and tools and gimmicky stuff. No, they had a few shades of a specific foundation you cannot find for the life of you unless you're in the circuit, powder, mascara, and some cream blusher that you could use on the lips, and lip balm for the other people who didn't wear any kind of tint on their lips. So that was that, and it was really amazing to see what they did. So let's go to the skin prep. I think that to remove any possible trace of texture when it comes to dry patches and even some unevenness, the focus should be exfoliating. Having a good exfoliating toner, yes. Using something like the Peter Thomas Roth pumpkin enzyme mask once or twice a week, just to remove a little bit more thoroughly those top layers of the skin which are a bit aging and old and are starting to come off and look uneven and creating unevenness on the skin. And then of course physically exfoliating if you need it, to remove any kind of dry patches you may have. The other thing is prep your skin, moisturize, use serums, oils, moisturizers, whatever, but between each step before applying makeup, let your skin absorb the products before applying the next one. This is a little bit more time consuming, but it will make your skin feel a lot better, and the products you apply won't slide immediately off. When it comes to the SPF, which should be the last step of your skin routine, when you apply your SPF, that is the one that takes more to sink in because you have to apply a huge amount. So go and have your breakfast and then come back, and then let's blot what we've put on our faces. I love to use blotting sheets. I have some from Essence. These are by Too Faced. Whatever you have is good enough. Just blot the excess oil so that that won't disrupt what you're applying over it. Then let's go sanitize our hands once more, and let's go on to prepping the skin. Primers. If you have a lot of oil, maybe applying a mattifying primer on your problem areas. I often do. or applying a primer that will make your makeup last a long time. I'm not a big fan of silicone primers just because they break down on me. If they work for you, I think that the main focus should be your foundation, choosing the right foundation for this. We are working with very, very thin layers, and because of that, I think that the best way is to go with a good coverage foundation that is not too matte, not too glowy. So somewhere in between. It has some creaminess to it, which provides some elasticity, so it moves with your face instead of settling into the fine lines, but also not too greasy, so that it's very glowy for 10 minutes and then it starts to slide off of your face. Or when you go and mattify the product, it won't look glowy anymore, so it defeats the purpose. I really like the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation. I've been using this for about a month maybe, and I'm really enjoying this product. I think it's the perfect balance. I find this foundation to be quite long lasting on me, which I cannot say for 99% of my foundations. I would say that an alternative to this one would be the Bourjois Healthy Mix if you want something more on the budget side. Something that gives you that skin-like finish, somewhere between a demi-matte and the satin finish, would be, in my opinion, the best, and it could have a very good coverage. Now I'll show you two techniques. One is with a beauty blender and the other is with your fingers. Clean fingers, of course. What I did on one side of my face was to start applying the teeniest amount of this foundation onto my problem areas, and I started there. Most of it is on my chin and jawline, and then I have some scarring throughout my cheeks, so I went and very gently patted in the foundation. And you have to have a foundation that really matches your skin tone, or else it will show that it's not matching. But still, this is a bit time consuming, but very gently patting the product onto your skin and leaving the most of your healthy skin out. So on the other side of my face, I applied a little bit of the foundation, a very little amount, and then I blended it out with a beauty blender with patting and roller motions, never dragging. And I find that this gives a beautiful coverage with a very thin layer of product. This has a lot of pigment, so it covers beautifully, and it gives quite a natural finish and still has the coverage that you want. And then I go over with the same product and conceal. Pinpoint conceal some of the blemishes or scarring that may still be showing through, and then applying a small amount underneath my eyes, the smallest amount. I'm not doing triangles here. I cannot stress enough, you have to use very, very thin layers, the smallest amount of product. That is the key. Then you can still highlight, and I used for that, this is the Clinique Airbrush Concealer. It's a slight shade lighter than my skin. I just use it the teeniest amount on the inner areas of my eyes where I get the darkest, and I patted it in really gently and not spreading it all over the face. I'm just covering up the darkness. And then I went with a Q-tip or cotton bud, and I just cleaned up on the areas where I have my moles, because they are here, and if they look kind of covered with a veil of foundation, that will give you a little bit more of the feeling that you are wearing a lot of products on your skin. And then this is one of those steps that you can skip, but to add a little bit of dimension to my skin, I went in with a bronzer, a cream bronzer, Soleil Tan de Chanel, with the softest touch. Applied it onto the tops of my cheekbones, my forehead, and my nose. And then I went with Becca's Shimmering Skin Perfector in Opal, the liquid version, and applied a tiniest amount on the tops of my cheekbones. This adds a little bit of dimension to the skin without being too in your face. Then you can go and set it, and I used for that something that I haven't heard anybody talking about, which is the Inglot Stage Sport Studio Mattifying Loose Powder. They have it in several colors. This one is slightly yellowish, but my skin is yellow, and unlike most people who bake or pile on a lot of powder, I take a little bit with my beauty blender. You can also do it with a small brush. Took a little bit and then rolled it on the areas where I know I'm going to get oily throughout the day. And I also applied it with that patting and rolling motion on the areas where I have concealed more thoroughly, so that the product doesn't slide off as quickly. I still used what was left on my sponge underneath the eyes, but I hardly use any amount of product. It's just to prevent the under eye concealer from getting into my fine lines. I don't apply a lot of powder because that will make my under eye area look very crackly. When applying the powder to your face, what this does is to not only prevent the foundation from sliding off and setting it into place, but it will also help to flatten out those bumpy areas, so it will make your skin a little bit more even. So use your judgment and apply a little bit more powder on raised areas, but don't ever overdo it, because throughout the day it is going to cling on to those areas and look caked up and enhance any kind of dry patches you may have. Then again, this is another step that you may or may not choose to do. I went in with powder bronzer and a little bit of powder highlighter. I used Kiko's Desert Dunes Baked Bronzer in 200. It's not too orange, but at the same time it has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's not shimmery at all. It just gives a beautiful sheen to the skin. And over it I use my Urban Decay Afterglow highlighter in Sin, and this is easier to get than the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector, and this only helps not only to give some dimension to the face, but also add a little bit of dewiness that may have been lost with the powder. I also use the powder highlighter and bronzer on my eyes. Again, you can skip this. I just use this to add a little bit of sheen to the lids that I think that looks really good with the highlighter, and then I went in very subtly with the bronzer just on the crease of the eye. This is not necessary at all. Next, I went in with a brow product. I used Gimme Brow by Benefit. Any kind of tinted brow gel will do. It's just to clean up any powder residue, foundation residue from your brows and set them into place. Add a little bit of tint and you're ready to go. And then I went in with mascara, and because this is a no makeup look, I used Clinique Lash Power Mascara, which has the smallest wand. It is quite waterproof. It can only be removed with hot water. Throughout the day it withstands almost anything, and I just applied it very close to my lash line, and then I pulled out very gently, not applying too much. Of course you can go full on if you like, I just didn't. Then you can use whatever you'd like on your lips. A lip balm, a nude gloss. You can use something like the Lancome Juicy Tubes just to add a hint of color. Or you can go full on with your lips. I used a mix of Rouge Edition Velvet by Bourjois in 03 Hot Pepper and Sephora Cream Lip Stain in number 10, which is a bright orange. I wasn't expecting it to be that bright, but I mix it in with the red and it looks beautiful. Last but not least, I set my face with a little bit of setting spray. This one is by Urban Decay. It's the All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. This just helps to remove that kind of powdery feel on your skin, and it melts away the powder residues and makes your makeup last a little bit longer. Yeah, I know that having textured skin is an issue for a lot of people. It is for me, and you want to look like you're wearing nothing, and you have to spend half an hour taking care of your base. That's just life. If you want to go through that faff, I have days in which I don't, but if you want to go through that faff, just give it a try and let me know how it went. And if you like this video, please thumbs up, subscribe to know whenever I post a new video. Follow my blogs, follow my Instagram, the free.volous, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.